Hi guys and welcome to another video on this channel. Today we're going for round 12 of season 1 of the My Team career mode and we're going around Monza. It will be the first race after the season break, and in the second half of the season we will have to make up for some things that happened in the first half of the season. We had way too many DNFs and we definitely need to change that. And we hopefully can get some more points. But we're still only P9 in the performance chart. And we're looking to improve on that. We're doing a minor tire wear upgrade, for example, which will unfortunately not come in for Monza, but it will be there for Qatar, which is a really high tire wear track, so we're definitely gonna need it around there. And we got a upgrade for our fabrication of the chassis, so we're spec 2 now with the chassis, which will help us to improve the chassis, which definitely needs to be improved because we're dead last on chassis side of things. So yeah, at the race weekend you got a small look at the weather forecast, and I don't know if you looked quick enough or not, but it will rain at the end of qualifying. As you can see there, the performance chart it's everything really close, and there you can see our season results. We only finished 3 races in the first part of the season, so yeah, we definitely need to make it way better than that. And we had actually 3 DNFs in a row now, so yeah, we retired in Silverstone after damage. We got disqualified in Hungary because of a safety car glitch, and we crashed out in Spa. So yeah, as always, we skipped through practice and we finished all of the programs, so we're gonna get good bonuses and we got good R&D points, which will definitely help us to improve the car for the next races. And in the last episode the regulation change was announced. It wasn't announced which parts of the car will be affected, but it was announced that there will be a regulation change. So we definitely need much R&D to conserve all the upgrades, so we won't lose any of them, and then maybe we can start good into the second season. So yeah, I'm already thinking about the next season, because in this season there's not much we can do anymore. We will get a few upgrades in, but it probably won't be enough to make really a difference. And as we're going into qualifying, you could see I already in the first lap missed the first chicane and went wide through turn 2. So the first sector won't be really good. But I'm still gonna finish the lap, because then I have a delta for the second lap, which will make it much easier for me to get a good lap in. And I don't know about you, but for me it just feels like it's just way easier to push the car to the limits, and it's much easier to gain time when you see how much you gain. I don't know, it's just, for me it's a little bit easier to get good pace with the delta. And so we finished our first lap, and it's 24.1, which is not that good, and we're in P22. I mean, we went wide through turn 2, so I didn't really expect anything else. And then into the second lap, I broke way earlier and took turn 1 way slower than before. But on the exit we gained almost 2 seconds. So yeah, it was definitely worth it, compromising the first corner for the second. And we actually went purple through the first sector. And now we're 2 seconds up on our delta time. And through the last mode we go. Didn't really gain much through the second Lesmo, but we're 2 seconds up, and that should be enough to get us through to Q2 if we don't mess up the lap. And there, through Ascari, we got good rotation, a good exit onto the long straight to the Parabolica, and we actually gained another second through Ascari. And in Parabolica we actually went a little bit on the grass at the apex, and then with 2.5 seconds gained we are in P3, which will end up in P4 at the end of Q1. Our teammate is out in P22, and then in Q2 the rain arrives much earlier than I expected. But we're gonna have to work with it. And I filled the car up for more than 1 lap. So I just can get used to the wet track and get to grips with those conditions. And as we go through the first sector with a 28.8, it's not a good sector time, I guess. And then we just locked up through Lesmo 1, went really wide, lost much time there. Got Lesmo 2 way better, but then had a moment of oversteer at the exit, which won't help us. But for this I fueled up the car for more laps, as we missed the entry of Ascari as well. So yeah, it's a good thing I fueled up the car for more than 1 lap, because on the next lap I will make more mistakes. No, I will make less mistakes. Sorry, my brain just stopped working for a second. And we're in P9, but I think there are not many people on the track right now. Yeah, and we are in P16 when everyone set a lap. And I think I spun the car on the second lap, so I actually needed to go back to the pits and go for another run with new tires, so it will be a little bit quicker maybe. And we actually set a purple first sector, locked up a little bit into the second chicane, but not too bad. We gained 8 tenths so far through the lap, and then through Lesmo 1 alone we gained 2 more tenths, but we actually lost some of it again through Lesmo 2. And on the straight we lose actually a tenth, break way earlier than on the first lap into Ascari, and at the exit we gained 5 tenths more. So yeah, it's with a purple first sector and 1 second up on the delta, it's a very good lap. And up to the line we go, and will be P9. But apparently we got the exit of Parabolica so wrong on the run to our first that lap. We gained 3/10 on the straight, and then on the exit of turn 2 I half spun the car and hit the wall, breaking the front ring, but actually we made it through to Q3 in P9, and then in Q3 it went to full wet conditions. And again, I need to get to grips with those conditions. As you could see, a big lock up into turn 1, which will not help us, and I actually thought about just cutting turn 2, but I decided to keep it on track, and I managed to keep it on track, which wasn't really easy, but it was, I mean, I got it done. So yeah, we don't have good pace in the wet, especially with full wets, and then we go wide through Lesmo 2, and it's just, there's so much water, and I'm not even sure if the tires can handle this much water. And then through Ascari we spun. I think in real life it would be red flagged at this point, because there's just too much water on the track. Yeah, and with this spin we're definitely gonna end up in P10 after the first lap, but we're gonna try to improve on that. I mean, we are 8.5 seconds behind Norris in P6. So yeah, we definitely gonna have to improve. And into turn 1 we lock up massively again, but we're going way faster at the exit of turn 2 and actually gain 3.5 tenths. And then into the second chicane we go really cautious, and I mean I know I will gain much time on this lap just because of the spin in Ascari. So if I don't spin there again, we will have a way better lap. But I mean, sure, going into Ascari with a good time already would be much helping, and we're 1 second up into Ascari, and fortunately we don't spin it, and now we're almost 8 seconds up, and we're still gaining because the exit just is so important for the whole straight. And then with 7 seconds gained, we go up to the line, and in the end it stays P10 with 35.1, 2.4 seconds off Max Verstappen. But yeah, let's go to the race.
Welcome to the home of the Parabolica, now known as the Curva Alboreto, in tribute to the Italian motorsport legend Michele Alboreto. It's a long right-hander. It dares you to keep your foot as far down on the throttle as you possibly can. It's one of the great corners on the calendar, and we're here at Monza, ahead of the Italian Grand Prix. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes. And with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Perez, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Albon, Tsunoda, the owner driver, Ocon, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Leclerc, Hülkenberg, Sargent, Stroll, Magnussen, Joe, De Vries, Bottas, and Jack Dillon. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Lando Norris. There's a new gearbox in the back of that car, which means a grid penalty and hopefully some excitement as they make their way through the field.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always better to take some pain now than parking it up halfway through the Grand Prix. Let's just hope they can put that new gearbox to good use and get the results they're looking for.
So for the strategy, we're gonna do a one stop, even though the tire wear upgrade is coming in only for Qatar, but around Monza there's not much tire wear, so we should be able to pull off a one stop. Yeah, and I hope from P9 actually someone got a grid penalty. I don't know who, but someone definitely got a penalty. So yeah, we moved up one place on the starting grid. And as we finished the formation lap, the tires were on 78 and 79 degrees at the front, so not quite as warm as we want them. So we're gonna have to be cautious into turn 1 and to the first lap maybe, but those soft tires will heat up really quick when we are on race pace. And we got held up by Piastri in the first corner, but we don't lose too many positions. We lost 1 to Piastri at the start and 1 to someone else, and then Leclerc goes round our outside through Parabolica. Remember, it's a Ferrari home track, so Leclerc in P11 at his team's home race. Not a good qualifying. And into turn 1 he waved a little bit and we had to move to the other side of the track, and that brought us actually out of DRS from the cars ahead, but we managed to get the gap back to 0.5 again. And then Piastri and Albon went side by side. I decided to try to overtake Piastri, and he actually hit us and almost spun us around, and now we're almost 2 seconds back from Albon, so we're gonna have to close that gap as fast as possible, because otherwise we will be overtaken. And then at the start of lap 8, actually Tsunoda and Albon helped us closing the gap by going side by side through the first chicane, and then into the second chicane we actually overtook Albon, and we had a purple first sector again. So I mean, the first sector is basically flat out and 1 braking zone and 1 chicane. So I think I'm pretty fast through the first chicane. I mean, otherwise I probably wouldn't have that many purple sectors. And then we got our first track limit warning because I went wide through Ascari. And then Albon and Leclerc tried to overtake us into Parabolica, but we managed to hold on to P9. But then with the DRS, they should be able to overtake us. And we go to the inside to defend ourselves, and Leclerc tries to make a move, and we cut him off a little bit into turn 2. We didn't leave him that much space, and now our floor is damaged. It's not too bad around here, you don't need that much downforce, so it's okay. And actually for a short time we broke the DRS to Leclerc, I think because of that incident in turn 2, but he got back into the DRS, so we're gonna still have to defend from him. And Albon behind is not much further away either, so we're gonna have a fight with Leclerc and Albon for pretty much the rest of the race, I guess. And it's for the last 2 points paying position, so it will be a very intense fight, I guess. And then from lap 9 on to lap 10, Albon just flies past us with the DRS, and he didn't get that far ahead, so we tried to overtake him back into turn 1, but we couldn't quite pull it off. And now we're in P10 with Leclerc behind us and Albon in front of us, and we can't lose the DRS, because if we do, Leclerc will just fly past us, because Albon was relatively quick past us as well, and Leclerc is probably in an even faster car. So we have to stay with Albon in the DRS and try to keep Leclerc behind, so we can score at least 1 point, maybe 2. We will see about that. And then out of his car we can close the gap a little bit to Albon, and through Parabolica we go. We had 4/10 gap, and at the exit at first it's growing, but then even before we opened the DRS we closed the gap again. We try to go down the inside, Albon makes a move to the inside, we try to go around the outside, and Albon moves back in our way. So yeah, he moved twice, under braking, and we're out again.
They made great use of the clear air today and didn't allow anyone to exploit the slipstream behind them. What a great win here at Monza. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
So it's another unfortunate ending to a race, and another time it's, I think, not really our fault. I mean, Albon just moved to the inside, and then we tried to go around the outside to avoid contact, and he just decided to go back to the outside, and we had basically nowhere to go. And actually Albon finished inside the points, and it's just unfair. I mean, he completely kills our race with that move, and he just gets 4 points. So now Williams is further ahead of us in the constructor standings. We probably would have gotten at least 2 points. Albon probably would have gotten 1 or maybe even 0 points. And he benefited from probably the safety car that probably came out after we crashed. And he didn't even have any damage. So yeah, it's just unfair that he can kill us like that and not have any consequences. But yeah, it is what it is. So see you guys next time. Goodbye.